Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thank you so much for dropping by today. Thank you to everyone who's currently live with us and to everyone watching the recording. So, one more day of life in these beautiful bodies, on this not just beautiful bodies, marvelous bodies. If we just reflect on the complexity. Many people say that science has done more harm than good. Whether that's true or not, the one thing we can say with absolute certainty is that science has helped us learn about the glory and the wonder of creation. And we don't have to look very far to see it. We can just look at these bodies and reflect a little bit. I think it's something like every human body, or the average, 100 billion cells. That's like 100 little tiny living beings. And each cell so complex. And that's just on a physical, chemical level. The deeper we dive into reality, down to the atomic level, the subatomic, the quantum level, creation is unspeakably marvelous and glorious. And same thing with the outer world. We've now learned, assuming astronomers are correct, and I personally don't doubt them, I don't know it as a fact, that our sun is just one of billions of suns, and our galaxy just one of, I don't know the exact number, millions or billions of galaxies. I think in our galaxy there is a couple million suns just in our galaxy. And let's put aside for a moment, because there's no denying it. I mean, you can deny it if you want, and good luck with that there is a lot of suffering and pain in creation and existence. And we'll look at that in a moment. But if we put that aside, creation, life, the universe, unspeakably marvelous and glorious. And what can that say about the creator of it? When you look at a work of art, you can know quite a bit about the artist. So if we reflect on these wonderful bodies, we can do such amazing things. And then we reflect on the physical universe. What can that tell us about? What can the beauty and glory of it? I'm looking out the window right now at a tree. What can that say about that which made it all? We all may have different ideas about what that made everything. But let's just stick with that. The great it. When I look up at the starry sky, or I just look at a tree or a forest or a mountain, I just let go and feel. There is an unspeakably wonderful feeling. And then when I begin to ponder, what made this? Where did this come from? Of course, I have a belief in a higher power, in God. Not everyone does. But then when I look at creation and allow it to teach me about God, I am filled with awe and wonder. So, a warm welcome to everyone, to anyone who's new. You might be wondering, what's going on? What's this guy talking about? Why is there a picture of Jesus behind him? Well, what I'm sharing today is what I consider to be the actual teachings of Jesus Christ, separated from what we could call the religious teachings, what the religious institution and belief structure that's been built up around the person of Jesus and what he actually taught and did. And and when I say the teaching of Jesus Christ, actually what I'm talking about is a way of life, not a belief system, but a way of being, a way of navigating life. It's all based on, well, it's primarily inspired by a man named Bruno Gröning, who showed up in post World War II Germany and around whom miracles happened, whom blind people regained their vision, paralyzed people stand up out of their wheelchair, deaf people were able to start to hear again, terminal cases of cancer, the cancer would just vanish. And Bruno Gröning was very simple, very humble, said that he wasn't teaching anything new. He was just teaching what Christ taught. And so that's what this live broadcast is about and what this channel is about. And if you'd like more information, you can drop by my website, www.thehealingstream.org. So one of the primary things that Bruno Gröning pointed out is that we as human beings need energy. Now, we all kind of know that to some extent, like we eat and we sleep, and some people exercise to get more energy. But Bruno Gröning pointed out, as did many, many ancient cultures, that there is a life force, a vital life force that is available to us and that we actually need to stay happy and healthy and harmonious. And he taught a very simple way to take it in. So if you'd like to join in, please do. So if you'd like to take this energy in, it's very simple. Please sit with your legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor, hands on your legs, palms facing upwards. Back in an upright position, not leaning against a chair if possible. And then please close your eyes and hand over all your burdens, all your worries and fears, any physical illnesses you have, hand them over to your idea of God or a higher power or a spiritual helper that you trust. Bruno Gröning said that he was one such helper, never claimed to be the only one, who could take on burdens for people and help them. So just hand over your physical illnesses to God or to a spiritual helper. Hand over fears and worries. And now, having done that, and really put aside the idea of any illness, any problem, literally giving it away, as if thinking as if I no longer have it. Now concentrate and focus on your healing, the healing that is possible. Give your full attention to your healing. And then ask your idea of a higher power or a spiritual helper, such as Bruno Gröning, such as Christ. Say, I want to receive the healing stream. I want to receive the healing divine energy. And then observe your body, noticing what you feel. Now, now it's very important with every sensation that you now feel to look at it in the light of healing, thinking to yourself, every sensation is a step towards my recovery and my healing. If thoughts of illness or worry come up, give those away again. Noticing what you feel, taking in the good, viewing every sensation is a step toward your healing and your recovery. Just keep observing the body, handing over negative thoughts. So, for example, I just coughed and I have the habit of thinking, oh, something's wrong. So I hand that thought over. I hand over whatever caused that cough. And then I continue to observe my body, observing maybe even the same sensations, like there's a little tension right here. And so I just observe the exact same thing. Except now, instead of thinking, oh, those sensations mean I'm sick, or those sensations mean I've caught it, like the thing that's running through the news today, now it's, oh, those sensations are part of a healing. Taking in this good energy. So, a very warm welcome to everyone. So, I started off by saying that let's put aside all the suffering and pain that exists in creation and let's just look at the glory of creation itself. But it's also very important not to deny reality. You look around the world any day, especially nowadays, and it's quite easy to see that something's not right. Things are out of balance. There's a lack of harmony. It's as if this beauty that we see when we look at nature isn't really prevailing here on this earth. In fact, given this current world health situation, we could say that it appears that disorder, disharmony, suffering, disease is prevailing. What's that all about? How do we reconcile the wonders of the universe, the wonders of nature, which is right in front of us, even closer, the wonders of this beautiful body, which Bruno Gröning said was a gift to us from God? How do we reconcile this goodness with all this evil, suffering, misery? Well, it's the people's inability to reconcile this with goodness and evil that leads most people to say there is no God. Certainly that's an option. I don't think it's a particularly helpful or accurate option, but without a correct understanding of life, it's logical in a sense. It's very logical without the full picture. Spiritual teachers throughout the ages, sages, prophets, I believe, have been giving us bits and pieces of a fuller picture to begin to reconcile this fundamental human question. It's called the problem of evil. Stated very simply, it is, how can there be an all-loving, all-good God when there is so much suffering in the world? Well, Bruno Gröning answered this question very simply, and he answered it like this. A human being is a divine creation. Our essence is divine, is sacred, and cannot be tainted, and in essence, can't be harmed or destroyed. However, we are a creation of God, and God has given us free will, meaning that while we can't change the fact that we are in essence divine, as it's the same idea as expressed in the Bible, created in the image and likeness of God. However, God doesn't force anyone to do anything. That's what free will is. In essence, that's what love is not controlling anyone. Here, we can understand that a little bit in human terms, but on a divine level, it's God is infinite power, love, wisdom. And it wouldn't be loving or, in essence, kind to make people do good, be good, follow the good. And so God's given us free will. And it's a profound mystery, which Bruno Gröning hinted at, is that some way, somehow, human beings at some point decided to follow something not good. In essence, Bruno Gröning said that in the beginning, he didn't say the words in the beginning, but a long time ago, human beings were created fair, good, and healthy, and they lived in a state of union and communion with God, and everything was good. And he said the first human beings listened to a voice outside of that unity and did what the voice said, and this created a disconnect between human beings and God, and in essence, created a connection with this mysterious force called evil. And we'll talk about what that is in a little bit. From there, things have gone downhill. Human beings have moved further and further away from God and away from nature, which Bruno Gröning said that nature is God. That's not the full picture of what God is, but it's a significant part, that nature itself is God. Yet over time, human beings have moved further and further and further away from God and nature, and hence have become less happy, less healthy, and less harmonious. Bruno Gröning pointed out that people believe that they don't really need nature, and they don't really need God. Like, oh, we can do it on our own now. And this is proven false over and over and over again. And here in the 21st century, in the year of 2020, March 2020, we are hopefully The evidence that this way of life doesn't work is in our faces. And hopefully, we as individuals and we as a race can begin to wake up to what Bruno Grüning called us to, and to what Christ called us to, and what I would argue every true teacher throughout the ages has called us to. Back to a way of living in communion with God and with nature, living in harmony with nature, and in essence, of our free will, following God, in essence, surrendering to God, being guided by God. And let's just talk about, I've been throwing the G word around a lot. By God, Bruno Grüning just said life. God is life, love, harmony, goodness, order in the sense of harmonious order. So we need to throw out all the human opinions about what God is, because we've been taught wrongly. Most people believe God is the majority view on this planet is that God is an angry, bearded man far away up in the sky who's very vengeful and very judgmental. And Bruno Grüning said God never punishes. So that's a lot. So let's take a little time and reflect on all of this. That long time ago, human beings made a bad choice. And we, each of us, and the species has continued to make that choice, moving away from nature, moving away from God, and moving away from the recognition that God is not an angry, bearded man up in the sky, that God is closer than close. God is everywhere, in everything, and actually lives inside of us. That's the essence of what Bruno Grüning reminded us of what Christ taught and what Christ called us to. So let's reflect on all this and take in some good energy. Take in the energy of life, love, harmony, health. By once again observing your body, taking in the good, noticing what you feel, putting aside again any thoughts of illness, really mentally separating yourself to the point where, like, let's say someone's come here with a broken arm. Give away the idea of a broken arm to the point where you don't even have the thought that you have a broken arm. And then ask to receive the healing stream, and then observe the exact same sensations with the thought that every sensation is part of your healing in progress. Noticing what you feel. Handing over the thought of illness. Like every time I cough, there's the habit of thinking, oh no, I'm sick, or oh no, things are getting worse. So I just hand that thought over and continue to observe the exact same sensations, the exact same phenomena without that interpretation. taking in the good, noticing what you feel, handing over negative thoughts, handing over the idea of illness, so So Bruno Grenion explained it like this, that while the soul is divine and cannot be in essence harmed, it can be covered over or tainted or seized and dragged all over the place by evil. And that evil can, while it can't infect the soul, it can and does infect the body, which of course has a profound impact on our life. As a soul, this body is like our car through which we drive through life and navigate life with. And then if our car starts to have problems, it impacts every area of our life. So Bruno Grenion spoke of life here on earth as a school. And one of the primary lessons is learning to distinguish between what's good and what's not good, and to only follow the good. Now, this sounds simple. It's like, well, okay, I'm not going to kill anyone or steal or kidnap anyone, but it's a little more subtle than that. What about watching a little extra TV? Like you're tired, it's time to go to bed, and you watch a little more TV. Then after that, you feel fuzzy. Then you go to sleep and you don't sleep as well. Then the next day, you're not at 100% because you didn't sleep so well. So, from a spiritual point of view, those extra 10, 15 minutes of TV watching, you were guided by evil, according to Bruno Gröning's teaching anyway. Every moment we are guided. The question is by what? Are we guided by love and harmony and health? Or are we guided by ignorance, disease, disharmony? Bruno Gröning said it's so important what thoughts we take in because thoughts move us to deed. In this example, like it's tired, you're ready to go to bed, and then this thought comes, "Oh, I'll just watch a little more." And then you say yes to that thought, and then you do it and experience a negative impact. And Bruno Gröning said thoughts come either from God or from evil. Here we can see that while the thought seemed innocent enough, let's say, maybe my example isn't, let's say you then watch another half hour. That's a little more realistic. So while the thought seemed innocent, it was actually from the devil, in essence. And it's okay if you don't believe in the devil. Bruno Gröning spoke of Satan as an actual being. But what you can, hopefully, from this example see is that that thought was actually evil. It was misguidance. It was, in essence, harmful to life. That's what evil is, that which is harmful to life. This is so clear in English. The word evil, if you flip it around, is the word live. You flip around the word live, you have the word evil. And here in this very simple teaching that even a child could understand, Bruno Gröning shows us whether you call it the devil, evil, ignorance, ego, selfishness, delusion, illusion. These are all different words that different spiritual and religious traditions have for the negative consciousness or force that impacts our life. You can call it what you like. Bruno Gröning called it evil and the devil. Works for me. Didn't work for me in the beginning, but now it really makes crystal clear sense to me. Learning to distinguish which thoughts are good and of, again, you don't have to call it God, but love, harmony, order, happiness, life. Which thoughts are from life and which thoughts are from that which is harmful to life. Learning to distinguish that is one of the most important aspects of life because here we can see what happened in this analogy through not checking in on this thought, and just saying yes to it, the person was negatively impacted. And it wasn't just a half hour lost or wasted, then it impacts the next day. You can imagine when enough small choices like this happen, then someone's life is severely impacted. And we can take this very simple analogy and see that if enough people are listening to evil, delusion, ignorance, selfishness, then life on this planet is going to get pretty messy. And we can see exactly how the current world health situation came about. People listening to and acting on untrue, negative, harmful thoughts, which is exactly, that's almost verbatim how Bruno Gröning said all of our problems began. In fact, I'm going to find the exact quote. Please bear with me. Here's what Bruno Gröning said how all of human problems began. God created the human being beautiful, good, and healthy, which is how he wanted him to be. Originally, there was an indestructible bond between God and human beings, and there was only love, harmony, and health. All was one. But when the first person listened to the voice, listened to the evil which spoke from beyond the unity, and did what it said, the connection was severed, and a great chasm developed between God and the human being. So, once upon a time, a human or human beings listened to the evil voice, to the harmful voice, and did what it said. Fast forward 2020, one person was tired and ready to go to bed. They listened, in this example, they listened to the evil voice, did what it said, and it had harmful effects. So as you can see, this choice that was made a long time ago is playing out again over and over and over in each of our lives individually and then collectively. And the results are the March 2020 World Health Crisis. Because why? Because we're listening to the wrong voice. The solution that Bruno Gröning offered is, first of all, learn how to connect to God energetically, which is what this practice of observing the body. Learn to distinguish where the thoughts are coming from. The thoughts are like our GPS. They guide our decisions. As we can see from the simple analogy of watching TV, thoughts have profound impact. Bruno Gröning also said that we need to cultivate faith, not faith in a specific doctrine or dogma per se, but faith in trust in the fundamental goodness of our Maker. And from that, also in the fundamental goodness of us, even if it's deeply buried. So that's my understanding of what Bruno Gröning taught about the state of the world then and now, and the way out, connecting to God, watching our thoughts, and developing faith and trust in the divine. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining in, everyone who joined in live, everyone who watched. Let's close with a little more tuning in. That's what Bruno Gröning called this practice. The German is Einstellen, attuning to God, focusing on God. Again, putting aside the idea of illness, observing, focusing on healing, and then asking for the Heilstrom, and then observing the body. Has a few steps. Observing the body. Every sensation now, a step towards our recovery. Having faith. Here's the one doctrine that Bruno Gröning did teach, one doctrine. He said, God is nothing impossible, meaning God is limitless possibility and power, and that all things are healable by God. That's the one thing Bruno Gröning asked us to believe. So taking in this energy with that faith and trust, or at least being open to that faith and trust. Noticing what you feel. Now I'm going to say a little prayer, Please ask with each one of these. Um, you're welcome to change the word so that it resonates for you. Dear God, dear Bruno, dear Christ, please, please help us to be humble and recognize our need for God and our need for nature. Please help us to cultivate faith in the truth that all things are possible through God and through the power of God. Please help us be willing to make a decision, to decide the way I've been going is wrong. I want to turn around and follow God. Please, Bruno, please, Christ, help us to become aware of everything, every habit, every belief that blocks us from God, blocks us from faith in God. Please help us to be honest with ourselves about these defects, about these beliefs, about the places where we fall short, and then be willing to change, willing to let them go, and then to hand those things over to God. Please help us to stay mindful of our thoughts and determine which thought, which source is that thought coming from? Is that truly a good, helpful idea or a harmful idea? Please help us then to continue to seek connection with God all through the day and to ask for guidance all through the day, recognizing that we are children of God, that God is infinite wisdom, and we are the students. We're here to learn. And then help us to take this learning that we have and to take this connection of God and with God and guidance, and then go forth and help others as God would have us do, as love would have us do, to become instruments and servants of love and life, of goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Hello to Forever Loving Everything. Hello, Gerald. Welcome, Magdalena. Hello, Jisoo. Jisoo wrote, hello, friends who have a beautiful soul. Thank you. We have an unspeakably beautiful soul. Thanks for asking, Gerald. I have just such a strong preference for no questions during community hour. It's a bit distracting, but feel free to. It's a legitimate question, and this just isn't the time for it. Feel free to post it after any video, and I'll happily respond to it. I have very few rules, but Bruno Gröning refused to take questions during these sessions, and I just follow his lead. Bruno is smarter than me. And thank you for asking. Post a comment under a video, and I'll be happy to reply. I wish everyone a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Thank you so much for dropping by. And thank you. Now that it's March 2020 and things is as they are, we're all, I feel called to step up my game and my path. I feel called to really strive for the divine and struggle to overcome everything not good in myself and to help others do the same. And I believe, given the sign of the times, that's all of our calling, each in our own way. We can each ask God or our spiritual helper for guidance on how to do that. You're very welcome, Forever Loving Everything. Thank you so much. Take care, angels. Much love. You're welcome, Gerald.